You know, I just found this note from Maddie that was written back a few months ago, actually, that I just found today. And when I read this, I knew I had to answer this. And there are going to be so many young mothers who have lost their children that really need to listen to this video, because it has a lot to do with the loss of children and what happens after they die. And Maddie, thank you so much, for sharing your heart with me, because really I think you're going to help so many people here today. Now, Maddie wrote, I'm looking for some closure. I've been having a hard time moving forward when there are so many unanswered questions. While my son was in a hospital, there was really no way to tell if he was in any pain, if he knew that we were there, or if he felt me, or if he heard me. And I worry most that if he felt any pain, either before or after he was born. No one is able to give me those answers, so I was hoping if he was coming through it all, if it was something I could finally get answers to. Oh my goodness, Maddie, losing a child, first of all, is so difficult, but especially when you mention some of these things, I can't even imagine what you're going through grief-wise. So my heart really goes out to you, and really to any moms that are going through something or have experienced something like this. My heart really goes out. Now, Maddie, I can understand wanting to get closure, because losing a child is probably the biggest hurt you're ever going to have in your entire life, because you feel like you've lost part of yourself. And so I totally relate to that. But when he was in the hospital, sometimes there is no way of knowing if a child is in pain or not. But I want to tell you, when we're that young and when we're born, most of us don't remember even the act of being born. We don't have any conscious awareness of anything that's going on around us. So even if you were to think back to the time you were a baby and when you were born, think about when you started remembering things. I think I was about 2.5, 3 years old when I started really having memories of my conscious awareness. And so I'm going to tell you that most likely he would not, really remember any of these things to the other side, because once a soul transforms through to the other side, so once you have that instant body to soul transformation, once it goes through to the other side, there's no more human ego, there's no more body to bring with that, because the body stays behind. So there's the inability of feeling any physical, any human pain, any emotional pain, any of those types of things once you cross through. So I'm going to tell you, I would think that your son remembers you being there, being around. He would be very connected to you, because of course he was part of you for the longest time. So that bond between mother and child is never forgotten. If your son would have passed even shortly after birth, he would never forget who his creator is. There's always going to be an eternal bond between you and that child. I know that you worry if he felt any pain, and I could totally understand that is such a valid concern of yours. But the thing is, it's hard for people to give you those answers, but I'm going to tell you, once they cross through, there's no more remembering part of that human ego. There's no more fear. There's no more hurt. There's no more judgments. There's nothing that's attached to that. He would understand how he passed. He would have an understanding of his connection with you. He would definitely always be around you in energy. You're connected to that soul. It's part of you. But I'm going to tell you straight up, he would not remember dying. He would not remember being born. He would not remember the human, emotional, or physical suffering that he would have endured with any experience that he had on his short time here on earth. So you need to understand that. None of us do. Even if we would have had the most horrific death, once we cross through, it's like we let go of that part of ourselves, and we know how we've died, but we don't really dwell on it emotionally, physically, or mentally whatsoever, because we have the inability to do that, because we don't have that human part of us with us anymore. We're just highly evolved energies without a body, but that energy is always around us, and you don't really have a choice around that. So I would definitely Ask your son to come through, ask him to be around you, especially when you have very important decisions to make, or if you really need some spiritual support. I would definitely ask him to come through. Make sure that you've given him a name, make sure that you've honored him. But I'm going to tell you, Maddi, you need to let that part go. It's going to make your grief a little bit easier, knowing that he doesn't remember that suffering, or that he doesn't no longer hang on to it to the other side. And that goes for all the young moms out there, or even young dads that feel that their child has suffered before passing. I'm going to tell you, that is so not present once they go through. It's all gone. I want to thank you so much, Maddi, for bringing that awareness to everybody and for sharing your heart with us here today. You're amazing. Thank you to everybody who's written into your message from Spirit. And it is exclusive for Infinity members, my Infinity families. If you'd like to join, please do at myinfinityfamily.com. I love you guys all so much. Until next time, we'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.